The name Catalonia appears for the first time in the 1117 Liber Maiolicanus, the Majorcan book. It probably derives from the word for castle, sharing its etymology with Castile, although other etymologies have been suggested. Prior to its appearance, the Carolingians referred to a territory across the Pyrenees, including much of modern Catalonia, as the Hispanic March, and the region had been part of the Visigothic Regnum Hispaniae and the Roman Diocese of Hispania before. For 1,000 years prior to the existence of Catalonia, its population and territory were understood to be part of a wider Iberian identity, one which, during the Roman and Visigothic era, constituted a political unit called Hispania. After Catalonia came into being, it continued to be conceived of as an expression of a larger Spanish identity and political project. First, for God; second, to save Spain. So speaks King James I of Aragon in the Book of Deeds, the earliest epic poem written in Catalan, whose oldest manuscript dates to the 1340s. Alphonse X of Castile had asked James, his father-in-law, for assistance in fighting the Moors in the southeast. After deliberating with his lords over whether to aid the Castilians, a Franciscan monk was able to obtain an audience with the King of Aragon, informing him that a fellow monk had been visited by an angel proclaiming that, quote, "The King of Aragon, whose name is James, will save Spain from the dangers that beset her." The monarch is thereby convinced, and rides south into the fray. Similarly, we read that, after leaving a council where he has agreed to participate in a crusade, James hardens his men's resolve thus: "Worthy men, we may leave, for today all of Spain is honored." The Book of Deeds, which so often praises Catalonia, sees no contradiction between this and a wider Spanish identity. Another key source for historic Catalan identity and its relationship to the concept of Spain is that of the 14th century Book of King Peter of Aragon. Here, the Catalan chronicler Bernat Desclot records how, during a French invasion, Catalan barons told their king, Peter III, that they desired to go and meet this force in the battlefield, rather than remain, like merchants, in their cities, lest they bring shame and a bad name to, quote, "Spain's cavalry." Similarly, when the Count of Barcelona went to meet the Holy Roman Emperor, Desclot records his introduction as "a knight of Spain, and a Count of Spain whom they call Count of Barcelona." Furthermore, remembering the pivotal battle of the Navas de Tolosa against an Islamic army in AD 1212, Desclot writes of how a powerful Saracen lord entered Spain, and how the three kings of Spain went to meet him. These three, of course, include the regent of Aragon and, therefore, Catalonia. Concerning such joint actions, the 13th and 14th century mercenary Ramon Muntaner writes in his chronicle that the kings of Spain, who are one flesh and one blood, have little to fear of any power. Later, Pere Tomich, a Catalan knight who wrote a general history of Catalonia in the 1400s, provides the same conception of his region as a part of Spain, and as having fought to recover Spain from the loss suffered centuries prior on account of the arrival of the Umayyad Caliphate's forces, the loss of Spain, as it was often called. Spain is not merely a geographic category in any of these primary sources, but rather, explicitly, an extended human community and political project, capable of being done honor to by martial feats and exclusive of the geographically Iberian realm of Al-Andalus. Medieval texts invoke the name of Spain as the recovery of the Visigothic kingdom's unity, itself a continuation of Roman Hispania, in what historians have described as the Neo-Gothic ideal. It is not, however, a culturally homogenizing project. The cultural diversity that separatists invoke as evidence for a non-Spanish Catalonia was never understood that way before the modern era, any more than the diversity of organs is understood to mean that a man's heart constitutes a separate organism from his lungs and must leave the body in order to truly be itself.